We are wrapping up this series on mastery today. A month back, I attended a 2-day course in video production. What I've done to begin my journey in video editing is to produce today's session using the video editing tool called CapCut. In the digital tool session by New Skin on last Wednesday, Matthew Chin introduced CapCut. Okay, so I've been produced today's session using CapCut on my mobile. Okay, so this is my practice of wearing the white belt and looking the fool in my journey as a master. Okay, so good morning to all of you. Good morning to May. Okay, so enjoy what I have.
Good morning. We have been studying this book, Mastery, The Keys to Success and Long-Term Fulfillment by George Leonard, since the start of this year, over 15 sessions. Today, let's hear how some people have applied some of the ideas shared. We'll be starting with the youngest person first. And first one we want to hear is Bethany Thea. Bethany is a mother of 2 young adults. She was a supply chain manager in an American multinational corporation before starting her entrepreneurship journey as a lifestyle consultant in wellness and health.
Hi, today I want to share with you what I've learned from the Mastery teaching by Dr. James Chia. Among all of the teaching, there are so many chapters, but especially I like one is a lack of competitiveness and laziness. So laziness mentioned that nobody will be lazy when playing games, computer games, or something that they are passionate of. So I would like to combine this passion and competitiveness together. So I treat this LTO as a game. This game that I like, and my reward is to save as many people as possible, one at a time. When I'm able to save one person, I have 1 point. Okay, so then in that case, it becomes very exciting. And this is a game that I don't need to have hard feeling of whether my competitor will take over me. I just compete with myself. Okay, now like playing a game, I compete with myself every time there is a reward if I save a person in business or in products. So I will apply this theory in LTO reset, and I will apply it the same in upcoming LTO collagen. So if in this way we have fun and a game, and we are passionate because we want to help more people, and this will able to move me forward to do whatever thing with fun and as a game. So I hope you like my sharing, and we have a passionate of playing a game in New Skin. See you.
May spent more than 30 years in the telco media industry and held management positions in the telecommunication and media industry. She comes from a family of entrepreneurs. In her 50s, she made a switch to become an online entrepreneur.
Hi James, thanks for the Mastery series shared every Monday for the last 2 months, and it is so applicable to building a network marketing business. But I have also learned to apply to situations in my daily life. Let me cite you an example. When I had no domestic helper for 8 weeks, I learned to deal with the change and understand the way homeostasis work. I developed new skill and framed my mind to get through the household chores with pleasure. Also join energy from Mastery, like maintaining physical fitness and acknowledge the negative and accentuate the positive. These were my biggest takeaway.
Chong owns a successful and award-winning architectural practice. He is concurrently building another business for long-term retirement income and a lifestyle of contribution.
I love this Mastery series by James on Motivational Monday. I've applied what I learned from this mastery in my daily work, especially in my architecture work. The emphasis of practicing have created many awesome results in my work as an architect. What I realized what is at first difficult become progressively easier through practice. It's not the result that is important, it's attitude of practicing consistently even without result that has created a sense of fulfillment. I seem to be able to enjoy my work greatly, and there is so much fun as a result of continuing practicing. There is this sense of able to surrender to failure and at peace with myself. Of course, there are pitfalls everywhere and every time. For example, laziness and inconsistency will break the rhythm of this practicing, and I have to stop and start over again many times. But I'm glad that this mastery series have benefited so much, especially in my relationship with my work.
Susan did her master's in literature and started her career in journalism. She has worked in Business Times and Straits Times. She is currently a university lecturer on critical media literacy.
Okay, when I first heard the definition of mastery as the mysterious process during which what is at first difficult becomes progressively easier and more pleasurable through practice, I thought that was kind of obvious. Practice makes perfect. And yet, as it went along, I got a bit worried because it's the long-term, essentially goalless process of practice for the sake of practice. And I thought, oh dear, but what if I have a goal, right? And yet, as the lessons, as the daily doses went along, I got an idea that mastery is actually about who I am, and I aim to be a lifelong learner rather than an expert. The goal is not so important as the process of doing it, and the master is willing to try and fail and try again as long as they live, because and we become more forgiving of others, of ourselves as we fail, because it's a lifelong process. And it's rather like life, we enjoy life for its own sake. Finally, I loved the bit about mastery in common things like housework, and I would like to throw out another saying, which is like, instead of just practice makes perfect, the attitude I want to bring into things is, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. And I think if I have that attitude all the time, I will be present and I will be a master eventually. Thank you.
Hui Xuan has 2 master's degrees in library science and in mass communications. She rose to the super scale level as head of public relations for a government body in her early 40s, before pursuing her own global business providing anti-aging solutions.
I applied the mastery concept to 2 things: social media and stand-up paddling. I'm reminded that if I want to be on the path of mastery, I need to be aware of and be willing to negotiate with my resistance to change. So I'm using social media now more deliberately, not just to sell, but to recruit, and it's tough. So I plug myself into a support system. At least 3 times a week, I'm on a Zoom call at 8 a.m. I follow a regular practice. I spend hours on the handphone, even when I'm not getting the results. I just keep going. And I dedicate myself to learning so that I can improve. This is part of what James covered in the Mastery course series, right? I was also learning how to stand up paddle, and it was hard starting because it's a new sport and I'm not athletic, Now 4 months later, I can paddle quite some distance. But now I am on the plateau. I have to fight my resistance to learn new moves on the board, to brave choppy waters. Last week when I went paddling, the sea was very rough, and I spent most of that time, that 2 hours, actually sitting down. So it was not stand-up paddle, it was sit-down paddle. I missed getting practice on how to balance on rough waters, right? So I think James' series was valuable because he distilled what is in the book to its very essence and This can help anyone who wants to be a master to get on the path and to stay the course.
Hock Seng was Human Resources Director for a Japanese multinational corporation and a National Service Lieutenant Colonel in the Singapore Armed Forces when he was 40. He's a business consultant as well as a $1 million earner in a network marketing business.
Mastery is indeed a very exciting and interesting topic. I remember 20 years ago, I told Dr. James Chia, besides helping others, one of the main reasons I want to do well in Nu Skin is to be the master of MLM. Because I truly believe that this model can help people change their life. But at that moment, of course, I don't know what mastery is all about. I have no idea how to go about doing it. But after going through all the sessions that Dr. James Chia shared twice, now that I understood that the journey of mastery is a lifelong learning journey. It's a continuous and never-ending improvement process. And it allows us to, experience the ups and downs, the battle, the sweet and bitter. And I definitely want to make Nu Skin journey continue to be my path to mastery. In fact, looking back a few years ago, I might have embarked onto another path of mastery called living in harmony. That is to have achieved harmony within myself, harmony with people around me, and harmony with the universe and nature. And of course, this time round, I can apply the tips and guidance that I learned from Dr. James Chia sharing on this mastery series, and especially on the how to avoid the 13 pitfalls along the path. I'm sure I can benefit a lot from it. Thank you.
Jeff owned 2 branding companies, which represented companies like Apple and Porsche, before selling them in his mid-50s. He's an avid sportsman who is also building a business in the health and wellness industry.
I've really enjoyed this series on mastery. And I think it's because I like to do things that are maybe more art-based. So there's never, it's not about passing an exam or about getting a new certification, right? It's just about getting better, and it's in an area where it's pretty subjective, right? So for example, like, I love photography. I've been working on producing more videos. And then in church, I have started to go back into playing keyboards in church. These are the things that have to do maybe performance-based. So it's really tough. And while I might have some paper qualifications somewhere in my background, it doesn't change the fact that when I am working on it, I have to be good, right? And so I've really enjoyed this process and the series on mastery, because I think while I know a lot of the things that I need to do to become a master, but yet the series put it into a very succinctly, and it gave me ideas, what are some of the things that I could practice outside of what I've been doing, right? Maybe like I said, some of these subjective things, yeah, you can take a course, but I think it's also knowing that it's a goalless process, And so I set myself up for some things, like I would observe other people. I would be very critical when I see videos being shown to me, or photographs. So I say, okay, why do I like this? What is it about it that I like? And then, okay, can I emulate it? So that has really helped me. And because of that, I think that I've begun to enjoy the practice. I think James said that it's practice for the sake of practice itself, right? And I've really begun to enjoy it. And for me, I think I'm seeing the fruit of it, and I love it.
When Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, was quite old and close to death, the story goes, He called his students around him and told them he wanted to be buried in his white belt. What a touching story. How humble of the world's highest ranking judoist in his last days to ask for the emblem of the beginner. But Kano's request was less humility than realism. At the moment of death, the ultimate transformation, we are all white belts. And if death makes beginners of us, so does life, again and again. In the Master's secret mirror, even at the moment of highest renown and accomplishment, there's an image of the newest student in class, eager for knowledge, willing to play the fool. Are you willing to wear your white belt?
Okay, so that was my little attempt at CapCut, but brilliant sharing by all 7 people there. And I want to, acknowledge you all for being able to produce this, just like that. It just very, very clear thoughts. You're learning from what you have been listening. So that's a practice. That's a habit you have of learning and applying it in your life. As we heard, how you do anything is how you do everything. And there's this holistic approach to and desire to learn. And so, that just shows the fact that you can produce this, all 7 of you, shows the effect of practice. All these months, these years, you have been behaving in a certain way. And I love what Sue reminded us. Mastery is more about who you are. And I want to acknowledge all 7 of you for an absolutely great job.